Jay on my way home, wanting to say that suffering in unison is to add the form of one unit to the titles of sons and daughters who have changed substance in order to conform into that title which we would then be implied to be, compared to what we actually are and were before that conversion was made. There are a lot of people who have been misled by a fearful vex that has been placed on the people, and I said that with an E, not an A, so any fact checkers who try to say that this is against the mainstream agenda as to why it should be banned, you need to claim that I am doing something wrong with a name, for that is who I will say is causing me harm by participating in fraud, should it come to that. Giving the nod as the queen of the corporation that would cause the one being nodded about harm, loss, or fraud is a crime, because ultimately we have a responsibility to keep one another in line. That is why we are here. We are better when we are connected, when we know that there is accountability, and when we actually recognize the crime that acting against our divine nature is. That is when I believe we truly shift all of this shit we've been moving through, as all the old secrets and that which previously was beneath the surface, as it leaks out and is shown on the surface, it may get more terrorizing indeed, and we have to know that terror is not the state where we thrive. I want to say that a war on terrorism is criminal in and of itself, connected to the ultimate racketeering club of organized and illegal organized crime. The two simply being differentiated by legalities and jurisdictions of who has right to apply rules to those who have dropped the knee and become subjects, compared to remaining the subject of a sentence that does things, which is what a complete sentence would allow us to do, except for the life sentence or death sentence that would be due the man or woman who dropped a knee because they thought they needed to a corpse that's de facto usufruct and unidroit. Big words, look those up, each of them. Usufruct means that you can use someone else's thing so long as you don't destroy it. What do you think they're doing with us? We are the ultimate energy being harvested. To see www.url world as the reality that we are part of, when the truth is it's just one version that has a con attached to the conversion applied to us. First class would do the same if we took on a status to go with it, to say that we qualified. Well, I say that I don't need to fly first class with a title to enjoy the ride I'm on, because I choose to lead my own life and to be the stallion in the story of maybe who will not be broke by a system well trained to corrupt me at the core. I say no fucking way. I swear to play and to break and jar the cognitive dissonance that you may find when you hear a sweet voice saying things serious which is why we just say let's leave it aside, but we cannot. I think the fires in the night need to start in the heart, where our passion burns. That's where we learn to be enthusiastic about the fact we're the players on the field who came here to be authentically real and to have clarity as to how we heal by encouraging one another to find your tribe and understand what's yours, so we can love what arises in the now to be rectified and replaced, so we don't have to replay the negative stories. Instead, we can let go of the attachments to the not. Now that that part of us was in, but we can say, come back home, honey. We say to the part of us we left behind before, and now we go back to say, hey, you can come home and be loved, not just tolerated. For if that's how you feel, I'd say it's time to move, says the girl who didn't like feeling like I was just a number being tolerated at the first high school I went to, where I then decided to change to create a new identity that had another entity I gladly put on, for uniforms were assigned there and I was glad to comply because I liked to wear something I didn't have to think about nor be judged for, because we all looked the same. Do you blame me? I bet not. Hey, if you're feeling down, I just wanna make you happy, oh baby. Happy, oh baby. Ooh, we've been doing all this late night talking. It's time for us to talk about what matters, which is the fact that we're not uniforms. We're men and women who wear them, which represent the role, title, status, or personage that we take on with it and say that we are instead of that we have. Whew, so much to unpack there. Just leave a comment down below to say what this means to you and for you, what you're going to do with it. And then also say if you hate the fact that I sing it, but you stayed with it, well, good on you. I know not all can, not all will, many won't. But in the end, you who do will get to pay early so you can play later, as am I. And those who play up front pay later, and we choose. Just choose wisely, responsibly, and willingly. Because if you won't, you will be forced, not by me, but by those who would like to enforce the con onto you.